If you're around 20% body fat and you're trying to get shredded, here is the truth. Most guys screw this up because they either do two things. They either cut their calories down way too low and they end up losing muscle, screwing up their testosterone, or they think that they need to bulk up first and then gain even more muscle because they don't feel like they're ready yet to cut. But then they end up getting even more fat and you just have to cut longer and harder. It's not the best move. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how my client Theo dropped down 25 pounds in just 5 months. He was at 177 and he went to 152, and he did this without restricting his food. But you guys heard the typical advice before. Just eat less food, do more cardio, weight train a couple times a week. I want to give you not just that basic boring advice. I'm going to give you the most smart approaches to get lean as fast as possible, as smart as possible. And here's the problem with being 20% body fat. You're soft, you're chunky, you can't really take off your shirt and feel confident. You would be much more confident, of course, if you had a six pack, and you might even get bullied by being 20% body fat. But when you reach this lean physique, you've got next level energy, next level confidence. That's why it's so important to cut down. It's not a smart move to start bulking up. You'll get even more fat, screwing up your hormones. Ideally, there's a sweet spot to be where you look and feel your best. And that's what we did with Theo. So when he came to me, we gave him structure. First started him out, training him 4 times a week, weightlifting, doing a push, pull, legs, shoulders, and arms split. That's what worked best with his schedule. And that's what we focused on, the muscle groups that he wanted to grow. And it was really about shoulders, a little bit of chest as well, really building that V shape, because that's what's going to make you the most aesthetic. When you have broad shoulders, bigger upper body, smaller waist, bigger lats. And not only that, but we focus on his strength in the gym, because tons of guys, they cut down and they lose their size, they lose their muscle mass, and that absolutely sucks. I don't think it's worth it to lose all your muscle mass to have a six pack, because well, then you're going to be stuck looking like a skinny dude, and that's not ideal either. What you really need is this Greek god physique, because that's what makes you stand out. If you're tired of being invisible when you go to the beach, maybe not getting a super attractive girl, or maybe girls aren't super attracted to you because of the dad bod shape that you have now, when you build this Greek god physique, people will come up to you and compliment you, and that feeling, you can't beat it. So that's why it's so important to really prioritize the muscle mass, weight training, getting strong. And cardio, it's not going to help you build muscle. Now, the way to put in cardio is to do it smart. So what we did was we started off small, 10,000 steps. That is a good baseline for many different things. For your overall just health, cardiovascular health, you need to be walking as much as possible. You don't want to be stuck sitting at your ass all day on the desk. Ideally, get outside, get sunlight. It's going to do wonders for your sleep, for your recovery, for your overall lifestyle. If you can make it more active, it makes losing fat 10 times easier. Of course, we dialed in his macros, his calories. So focusing on protein every single meal. But really what's important is that calorie deficit that we had him in. So he was at about 2,000 calories. Started him out there, and he was losing weight, but to really break out of that plateau, we had to drop him down to 1,800. So then when he was at 1,800 calories, it was crazy. The scale was dropping down, finally seeing results. And here's the thing, you have to constantly make adjustments. So what I like to do with my clients is first drop down about a 500 calorie deficit, really focusing on the scale weight. If it's not moving after 7 days, we got to make an adjustment. Either we can drop down the cardio even more, or we can or we can. So what I like to do, I like to look at the 7 days, and if there's no scale change after 7 days, we can either bump up the cardio or decrease the calories. I typically would rather bump up the cardio just because I like eating more. And that's exactly what we did with him. So we increased it to 30 minutes. And this is what we're doing. We're doing the incline treadmill. We're not doing anything crazy, HIIT workouts, marathon runs. That is not optimal for fat loss. You want cardio that is going to be very low intense on your body. And this is how we were able to preserve so much muscle mass and how he was able. The crazy thing about this, he benched 225. He finally benched 225 while losing body fat. That is just ridiculous to me because most guys, they just dirty bulk their way to bulking to hitting 225, but he did it while he was focusing on losing fat and being in a calorie deficit because he prioritized smart, effective weight training and the proper diet and sleep and all these other factors that had him in a great place to build strength while losing body fat. So make sure to dial in your calories. Don't do crazy cardio. Of course, there's still going to be a weight plateau. Eventually, your body adapts to the cardio you do, and your metabolism does slow down. So you have to pull again. And this is where it gets tricky because we at the lowest calories he was at was 1600. Now, one thing I like to do as well, I like to make micro adjustments. So instead of just dropping him down immediately to 1600, what you can do is carb cycling because when you're not weight training, when you're on your rest days, well, you're not as active. So do you need as many calories? No. Do you need as many carbs? No, because carbs is what fuels your training, your muscle growth. But to have that every single day if you're not training, well, it doesn't exactly make sense, right? If you think about it, since you're not as active, you could pull from the carbs because you want fats for your hormones and the protein to preserve your muscle mass. And protein is very, very good because, well, it stimulates muscle protein synthesis and has a higher thermic effect, meaning it burns more calories to digest protein. So you can eat more protein, burn calories from it, versus if you're eating carbs and fats, you're not going to burn as many calories eating that. Anyways, that's why we pull from the carbs. So on the rest days, he was doing 1600 calories, and on his training days, he was doing 1800. This is how you can stay in a deficit and make it a little easier. And also, you're not as hungry when you do weightlifting and when you just focus on walking. Walking doesn't really spike your appetite. That is what's so great about it. And so he wasn't super hungry all the time. And one thing he did was still going out. He even showed me he was at In-N-Out eating burgers and fries. I'm like, hold on. Did you manage to fit that in 1800? And he's like, oh, it was easy. Felt great. So he was still going out, even going to Korean barbecue with his friends, managing all that while working and not like screwing up his hormones, killing his gains because he actually understands macro manipulation. So this is how he was able to enjoy the foods he likes. He just fitted in his diet and he was fasting. Maybe he would have 1 or 2 meals a day if he knew that one meal was going to be a really good meal. If he was going out with his friends, he's going to save some extra calories to enjoy himself versus trying to do 6 meals a day, chicken, rice, broccoli. Well, you can't really enjoy the food you're liking. There's no room there. So you can still do it. Just be smart, plan ahead. Look up the menu of the restaurant you're going to. If you're going to eat a lot, just eat protein earlier, try and fast, stay active as much as possible, get those steps in. That is what you want to do. Now, here's the thing though. He was doing all of these great habits, tracking food, hitting the gym, but still got stuck in another fat loss plateau. And we were wondering, how could this be? He's doing everything right. There was another thing he was missing, and that was the sleep. He told me he was staying up late playing Marvel Rivals, this new game that came out, and he was getting addicted to it. And he wasn't sleeping the 8 hours that he really, really needed, which is super crucial for fat loss and muscle growth. If you don't get good sleep, well, what's going to happen is your cortisol is going to increase, which is the stress hormone. And it just makes it insanely hard to lose belly fat when your cortisol is high, when you're stressed. It wants to hold on to it. Your body says, no, let's hold on to it. And he didn't have to cut out Marvel Rivals completely. But I was saying, if you want to optimize your sleep, get better results, maybe cut it back a little bit so you can properly get those 8 hours in and actually get good quality as well, so you're not stuck in this plateau anymore. And then he made that switch, noticed way better gains, right? Because if you're not sleeping properly, if you're overly stressed, that can take a toll on your body. So it was really about making all of these micro adjustments, not all at once, not doing 2 hours of cardio straight off the jump, not eating, starving himself, eating chicken, rice, and broccoli, screwing up his metabolism. No, only making these micro adjustments when he got stuck in a plateau. That is what got him the results. But none of this would be possible if he didn't truly believe in himself and if he didn't truly believe in the process. Because a lot of guys want to hop from program to program instead of just sticking with one thing. He took my advice. He listened to the Top Shape program that we had him on. He just dialed in everything and still got to enjoy some flexibility with his life. But he was only able to do that because he truly wanted to change. He truly wanted to transform his body. And he didn't just kind of wanted to do it. No, he really, really wanted to do it. So you have to have a strong drive for it. Because tons of dudes, they say they want a six pack, but then Friday night comes around and they think it's okay to have 20 beers at the bar, when really you want to look like a Greek god and make a smarter approach. Have the hard alcohol instead, less calories, eat less carbs ahead. All of these things that you can do, but when it comes to late at night and you're looking at your fridge and you're just like, fuck it, I don't care. Well, then that's going to set you back because your mental health isn't in the right place. But if you truly believe in yourself and you have a strong purpose for why you're doing it, because maybe you want to be a better father, you want to be a better role model for your kids, you want to be a better man, a better partner for your wife, and you want to be more attractive or attract your dream wife, it's not going to happen from being lazy, being a slob. That the better you are yourself, the better results you're going to get, not just for yourself, but like people are going to compliment you more. People are going to respect you more. You can take off your shirt and actually have confidence, not feel like hiding away or doing all this, or not getting bullied and made fun of your fat, flabby physique. That is why we all have this strong drive to get the shredded six pack. So you just have to remember that. You have to constantly remember about the consequence of not working towards your goals. And you have to think about what's gonna happen if you don't achieve your goals. And that is exactly why I've created Top Shape, a tailored fitness program specifically for anybody who needs to drop body fat and pack on muscle in just a couple months. So if you're interested in that and you're serious about achieving your goals, you want the smartest approach, click the link in my bio or click the link in the description, fill out the application, or DM me on Instagram if you have any questions. I appreciate you boys for watching this video. Let's fucking go. Get to 10%, get shredded, and finally get the six pack. Let's go, boys. Peace.